Alright, today we have a 2011 Chevy Impala with a 3500 motor in it. We're going to do a cam sensor and a power steering pump. So we're going to start with the cam sensor for this video. We're getting this code right here, the PO340, evap code, crankshaft, camshaft, another camshaft. Those are the 5 codes that I'm getting. Okay, so if you're getting these codes, first thing you want to do, come out here. Your camshaft sensor is going to be right underneath your power steering. And the first thing I noticed on this car, it has a power steering link. Power steering doesn't work. I noticed that somebody's been in here before. This is the wiring that goes to the camshaft sensor. Well, this is leaking, and I'm pretty sure it's leaking right down onto the camshaft. So if you have a bad power steering or it's leaking, it's probably going to mess up your camshaft sensor. So in order to get to it, you're going to have to take the power steering pump off, and I'll walk you through that process. But this is definitely going to be the wiring to the cam sensor. Alright, this is how I'm going to start. First thing you're going to do is disconnect the battery, because when you go to take the power steering pump off, you're going to want to disconnect some wires from the alternator. And I'm going to take the coolant reservoir off, so it's easier access to all the pulleys and stuff down there, so I can get to my tensioner pulley to get the belt off. So it's 10mm for the battery, 2 10mm bolts right here and right here for the coolant reservoir. Alright, got the battery done. Took that off. I just set it over here so I don't lose any coolant. Somewhere I ain't gonna keep bumping it. And then down here in your pulleys, it's gonna be right here. You're looking for your tensioner pulley. Just gonna down in here. It's gonna be a little slot that your ratchet will fit in there, just like that. This is what I did. I just used the bar that goes to a jack as leverage to get this belt off. Make sure you take note of your belt. I noticed on this car there's no belt diagram under the hood. So with the belt off, looking for 3 bolts, 3 mounting bolts for this power steering pump. If this wire right here to your alternator is in your way, that's the one I'm talking about that you can take off. Let me try to leave mine on there for now. There's 3 bolts. There's 2 of them right there. And the third one's going to be on the other side. Somewhere. Right here. So it's kind of towards the bottom. Bottom left. Looks like they're going to be 1/2-inch bolts. Just find you something like this, a little extension on there. Take the 3 bolts off. Alright, here we are with the power steering lifted up, but the line's still on there. In order to get it up this high, there's a bolt, a little 8mm bolt right here. It goes on this bracket down here. You're going to have to lift up. Once you get your power steering pump up, let's go to this back side, and there's 2 hoses you take off. One you're going to need a wrench for. One's going to be a clamp style. comes to the cam sensor, that right there is the cam sensor. Like I said, somebody's obviously been in here before. And what I think is going on is when they did the cam sensor and they put new wiring and a new plug on there, they put this power steering back in. And this top hose right here, they didn't do a very good job of making sure it wasn't going to leak. And the power steering leaked fluid directly down there onto that cam sensor for who knows how long, causing the cam sensor, maybe even the wiring, go bad again, ultimately making the power steering pump go out because they ran it without power steering fluid over and over again. So we're just going to go ahead and put the new pump on there, get down there and look at that sensor. It's going to be one 10mm bolt, and that sensor is going to pull right out. We're going to clean it up down there. So you want to make sure all that's clean, because everything that is down there can potentially go right into your motor when you pull that sensor out. Alright, here it is with the power steering pump all the way gone. If you're replacing your power steering pump, this line right here goes to up to the top of your power steering pump. You're going to want to replace this clamp with something that you can hand tighten down. Make sure that your hose has a little bit of play where you can squeeze it and it's not rock hard and going to, leak again. On the bottom hose, make sure that gasket on the end of it is still there, a little black O-ring gasket. Place that. Then you shouldn't have any problems with leaking the power steering side again. When it comes to the camshaft sensor right there, I'm going to clean all that up. I've used something like some mass airflow cleaner or something that you can clean electronics with for the actual plug. Check all your wiring, make sure all the wiring is good. Don't just plug it all back in with the new sensor and hope for the best. Make sure you check that wiring is actually working. Alright, here's with the cam sensor out. Plug was pretty wet, so I just sprayed it out and let it air dry. Here's the old sensor. See that it's wet down in there where the plug goes. Make sure it's clean right there so you get a good seal when you go to put the new one back in. Make sure nothing falls in there. This wiring right here, these 3 wires, the wires you want to check. These have been replaced before, but I'm still going to check them and clean them up a little bit, make them look better. Alright, there's with the new sensor all the way in, plugged in. Make sure you hear the click so you know it's not going to come back off. Here we are with everything back together. Coolant reservoir, power steering pump. The wire right here is the wire that goes all the way down to that cam sensor that we changed. So you want to make sure when you're putting the power steering pump back in, you don't get it caught on anything. Get the wire nice and covered up. That way it protects it from any type of heat damage or anything like that. Plug your battery back in. And you should be good to go after that. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe.